This is my view where I sit and shell beans. It's gorgeous out here. Who wouldn't want this view? I've had many offices with windows, even one in Hawaii, but never a view as beautiful as this.
Welcome to Maple Grove Farm and Homestead.
So I'm out here sitting under the trees by my herb garden, behind in a little kitchen garden, and just enjoying the beautiful view. And I'm shelling beans while I talk to you about why we grow our own food. So this year I planted 2 double rows of these pinto beans. They're a gorgeous kind of cranberry bean, kind of hard to see. I'll show you some in a little bit. I don't need to grow pinto beans every year, but when I do, I've grown 2 rows this year, and each row was double planted. And this will probably last us for a couple years before I need to grow pinto beans again. I can rotate the type of dry beans in the garden, so I'm not growing every type of dry bean every year. Recently, someone said about me and my family, they grow their own food. Why would anybody grow their own food when you have a job and can go to the grocery store? So I just thought I would talk briefly about why I grow my own food. I went to college, have a master's degree. For many years, I worked in a job, not even 9 to 5, it was more like 6 to 8. Hours were long, going constantly all day long, spending weekends trying to catch up. And you just don't get to appreciate the world that way. You start eating fast food, and now these last years, probably about 7 years now, I've been at home full time on the farm and homestead, and it just is so peaceful here. So the number one reason I grow my own food, so that I can enjoy this peace and quiet, so that this can be my full-time job. I don't sit in traffic every day. I get to just walk out the front door and enjoy this lifestyle. Number 2 reason why I grow my own food, it really just tastes better. These particular beans came from Seed Savers Exchange originally. Have been a great source for me. I know people like different seed companies, but this has really been a great source for me, and they have so much flavor. When I cook them, they're just full of flavor and really add a lot to our meals. We cannot even really enjoy store-bought meat anymore. It just doesn't have enough flavor for us. We really try to make sure we plan enough meat every year that we don't have to ever buy store-bought meat, because it's not an enjoyable experience for us. The fresh fruits and veggies, I know where they come from. I don't have to pay exorbitant prices to try to get organic fruits and vegetables. And I'm sorry, but the chemicals in our food today, in our fruits and vegetables, our dairy products, because of what the meat from the animals, it really concerns me. That's not the way God created our food to be, and He didn't create our bodies to be able to handle those chemicals. And I think that a lot of our health problems today are related to our food and what we eat as a society. So the number 3 reason why is because it's healthier for us, because we get to eat food that wasn't grown with all kinds of chemicals. The number 5 reason why we grow our own food, because of the physical labor that it takes. And that might seem like kind of a funny reason, but our health is improved by working the soil and working the land in order to improve, to grow our own food. That directly impacts our health, provides exercise, fresh air, vitamin D in the form of sun, and we also appreciate our food more because of the labor it takes to grow it. When we're eating something, there's just a feeling of joy that comes from thinking about the time that we got to spend out in nature with that food product. That just doesn't come from, I don't get joy going to the grocery store. So that's why we grow our own food. We can afford to go to the grocery store and buy our own food. My husband is a contractor. He earns a good living to support us. We do save money by not going to the grocery store. And the food that I do have to buy in, and I'm able to buy organic, good quality food because of the money I save in other aspects of raising our own food. But we don't have to. We're not doing it because we don't have enough money to do other things. We're really doing it because of the 5 reasons I just told you about. I work on our food production a good portion of every day. Right now, as we get ready for fall, I'm picking the last items out of the garden. Shelling out beans, have winter squash I need to get stored away. We're pulling out the onions. Potatoes have already been put away. We have dry corn still to harvest. We have about 1 more week before the rains are going to set in for here in a little bit. And we have a bunch of food still to get pulled out of the garden. Some things are more urgent. These beans, they were the top priority. Dry corn's the next, and then squash. Squash is not fun to pull out of the garden when it's wet, but it won't ruin it. We're still probably a good 3 or 4 weeks off from our first frost. So as long as I get all the food put away by then. I'm also working right now on our fall gardens. I'm still weeding in the hoop house, planting things like spinach, arugula, working on the green onions. I'll have seeds to start here soon for things like celery, probably more green onions, and in a couple months I'll be starting next year's garden. Have garlic still to plant. Here in the Pacific Northwest, and everybody's area is different, and what you do in your particular area is going to be different than what I do. But here in the Pacific Northwest, there's an aspects of gardening that I do all year long, and that means I have some amount of fresh fruit all year long, but I'm still storing and preserving other food. There's baking to be done, canning of things like these dry beans. Sometime this winter, I'll get jars of dry beans, burrito filling, canned up, so they'll be quick and easy meals on the shelf for us. And when we get low, I'll do some more. Food preservation on the homestead, that is the full-time work. I feed animals, collect eggs. During the right season, I might milk, make cheese, make butter. We don't have a milk cow right now, but that's on our spring list to do. We need to improve our infrastructure before we have dairy cows, but we've had dairy cows in the past, and we will in the future. We have some new goats that we just got to the farm that'll be breeding this fall, and so we'll have goat's milk also in the spring. And So I think I've talked about this before in my previous videos, which are not numerous, but if you are going to homestead, food production is going to be a significant portion of the work that you have to do. But it's really rewarding. But you have to enjoy it. That has to be a reason why you're doing what you're doing. Otherwise, you'll find reasons to be off the farm and doing other things. And I saw somebody talking on a recent blog who had bought a homestead and then had left the homestead. And they said one of the things they're talking about is the amount of work that needed to be done and how it interfered with kids' activities. And you have to understand this is a whole lifestyle. It's not something that we just do as a hobby. This really is part of who we are, how we live our lives. We're really blessed that my husband is self-employed and he can work his schedule around what needs to be, to some degree, what needs to be done here on the farm. He's flexible. And he's skilled at getting lots of things done. But we've been at this for 14 years. The amount of time I spend on food production does not decrease. It is a consistent effort, day in and day out, 365 days of the year. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I know that the food that I'm providing to my family is nutritious. It was grown with love, and it tastes good. And that brings me more joy than any career I've ever had. Thanks for watching today. Hit subscribe if you're new. Share this video if you think somebody else would like it. We're glad you joined us. And I'll continue sharing more with you about our journey to self-sufficiency. These are what the dry beans look like when they're mostly shelled out. I have a few more pods in there to clean out.